I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Jared Swaim, Mark Nelson on the front row. DJ the Iceman Kenner and Ryan Warp on the second row. Derek Schilling and Jeff Oakes on the third row. Mike Presley, Gerald Thanos Poole on the fourth row. Kevin Bruner and Rod Potgieter round out your top 10. Alan Phillips starting in 11th next to Warren Moore in 12th. Mark Bruning in 13th. Gil Guak in 14th. Jay Salmon in 15th. John Shermont in 16th. Chuck Sweeting starting in 17th. James Lacey in 18th. John Saunders starting in 19th. And Tim St. Jean starts in 20th. Daryl Klotz and Thomas Byram round out the 22 car field here at Kansas. The Iceman predicting the winner from the front row will be from the front row. And Paulo, it's been a while, buddy. He's cheered on Ryan Warp. Chrono, that 86 is a pretty safe bet, buddy. I lost track of how many wins he had over the regular season, but it was a lot. He won last week at Bristol. Can he do it again here tonight and extend his points lead? Let's find out. Low and cheering on Gil Guak in the 85 as here we go. Pace car is in.
Here we go, green flag, boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go racing, boys.
They are down and away in Kansas. Jared Swaim gets the best launch as they go off into turn one. Swaim clears the 86. Man, they get close coming off turn two. A few drivers get a little squirrely. Derek Schilling battling side by side with Jeff Oakes. Everybody survives lap one. Hey, good evening, Kirk. Jared Swaim right up by the wall, that time by Mark Nelson, trying to utilize the bottom here early to make up some ground. And a lot of battling mid-pack. A few new names in the field tonight too, like Alan Phillips in that 577. Is he going to make a name for himself here tonight and march his way toward the front? One driver already starting to move forward, Daryl Klotz. Daryl up 5 spots, now into 16th. Also on the move, Jay Salmon in the 76, up 3 spots into 12th. Mark Bruning up 3 spots into 10th. And the Iceman just set the fastest lap so far as Mark Nelson got a little loose out of 2. The Iceman cometh on the high side. DJ the Iceman Kenner now to second place, sets his sights on Jared. Hey, good evening, Glenn. Ryan Warp is closed up onto Mark Nelson. Gerald Poole looked like he may have given the wall a little bit of a kiss. Jeff Oakes closing in. as Ryan Warp's trying to make the move to the outside on the Mark Nelson. Mark Bruning quietly making his way forward, now up into 8th place. Gil Guanc on the move in the 85, up into 11th now as he goes by Kevin Bruner. Mark Nelson holds off Ryan Warp for the moment, but that has allowed Jeff Oakes to close in on him and gave DJ a little bit of breathing room behind. Now the Iceman sets his sights on Jared Swaim. Jared Swaim currently sitting second in points. 46 points behind Mark Nelson. He's got to keep Mark in the mirror. Don't forget, folks, shortly after tonight's broadcast, the Unicorn will be battling. Cal Mark Nelson drifted up out of turn 2. Ryan Warp looked to the bottom. Now Jeff Oakes looking toward the middle. Oakes gets a good run on Warp this time. As I was saying, shortly after the broadcast tonight, the Unicorn will be leading the convoy. Come have some laughs. While she's out there trucking the USA. Alan Phillips, one of the newcomers, up 3 spots into 8th. Mark Bruning still holds on to 9th at the moment. Derek Schilling in 7th, right on the back bumper of Gerald Thanos Poole. Darrell Claude's continuing his march forward as well, up 5 spots into 16th, but he is running down that big group just ahead. And let's ride along with Claude. You guys can see as we head off into turn 1. You can see how many different grooves. Wow, what a run by Claude. I can't believe they let that car, Warren Moore, put that dirty word on the back of it. Off into turn 3, you see as many drivers as possible staying up toward the top where the momentum is. And back across the start-finish line, Klotz did that lap in 33.45 seconds. And Klotz on the attack moves up into 15th, looking underneath Guanc for 14th. Meanwhile, Jared Swaim and DJ Kenner have pulled a gap on Mark Nelson and Jeff Oakes. Mark now 1.3 seconds behind the leader, and I think Oakes may have kissed the wall. Don't see any scratches. These guys run right up by the wall, inches away from it at parts of the track. It's very, very easy to give that wall just a little kiss. Richie, I was wondering what happened to you, buddy. DJ Kenner all over the back bumper of Jared Swaim. Mark Nelson starting to close back in and brings Jeff Oakes with him. Ryan Ward back behind. And Derek Schilling has climbed back up to 6. And remember, Schilling had done that from the back challenge for the MS Society over the course of the last season, helping raise money for the HTSAI MS Society fundraiser. You can find the link to donate on our Facebook page. But he started the entire season last season at the tail end, did not qualify, charged his way through the field repeatedly, picked up an average of 10 spots a race. This race is far from over for him. The Mark Nelson has just about caught the Iceman. Lap times are starting to fall off after about 15 laps. Most of these drivers already down about a second a lap from where they started. Jared Swain's fastest lap so far, 32 seconds. Last time by 33.41. And looking throughout the field, it looks like most of them anywhere from 6/10 to a full second, just depending on how much racing they have done, how much side-by-side they've been involved with. Mark Bruning has had a lot of side-by-side, moving his way up to 8th. He is still on the move, but Gerald Poole has started to lose some ground. He is now back into 9th. Last week, it looked like he put some of that Navy Joe JP5 coffee in the gas tank. He was flying around Bristol. Looks like he forgot to put it in this week. Mike Presley looking down to the bottom. Has the run on Gerald Thanos Poole. Jay Salmon and Chuck Sweeting right behind. That is a side-by-side four-car battle. Ninth, 10th, 11th, and 12th as they try and settle that out. There is a battle up front for second place. Something has gone wrong. Something has happened to Mark Nelson. He suddenly has lost a couple spots. Jeff Oakes still closing the gap on the Iceman. Mark has now dropped back to 4th place. He was battling with the Iceman a moment ago, trying to see what happened. Meanwhile, at the moment, Gerald Poole still able to hold on to 9th place for the moment. Chuck Sweeting now up 7 spots into 10th. Chuck really on the move. Kevin Bruner is the first one to pit road. Bruner has heavy damage to the right side of the car. Remember, they do not have fast repairs. Right sides are up, 4 tires, fuel, and as many repairs as possible. Gerald Thanos Poole headed to pit road as well. Looks like they are within that window to get fuel and go the distance. Hey, good evening, Frank. Gerald forgot to put JP5 in the gas tank this week. Ryan Warp has lost a little ground in 5th. That is allowing Schilling to close in 6th. Alan Phillips and Mark Bruning 7th and 8th. They are also closing in. As is now 9th place Chuck Sweeting. Sweeting now up 8 spots. Gerald Poole, Kevin Bruner now back on track, and you're about to see the difference 4 fresh Goodyears make on these cars. Running along with Gerald Thanos Poole. And you see how quickly he is gaining on those 2 cars ahead. Four fresh Goodyears sure are fun when you're the fastest car on track. Hey, good evening, Pudsey. Rod Pockgeter now on pit road. Looks like everybody is well within their fuel window, and several of the drivers trying to take advantage of short pitting. DJ Kenner gives up 2nd. The Iceman is in. Jared Swaim continues to lead. Oaks in 2nd. Mark in 3rd. Ryan Warp now to 4th. Derek Schilling back in 5th. But now you have to wonder, how long do the leaders stay out? They are losing as much as 2 seconds a lap. Jeff Oaks is headed in. Oh, Mark Nelson has a problem. Ryan Warp is in. Alan Phillips is in. Let's see what happened with the Mark Nelson coming to pit road. Gets down, trying to carry as much momentum as possible, but that pit road entry is slick, and the second he tapped on the brakes, the nose snapped around on him. Gets it recovered, but he lost a lot of ground. Jared Swaim has given up the lead. He is on his way in. Now Derek Schilling has gone to the front. We saw Mark Nelson's problem on pit road. Don't be surprised if we see someone else potentially have problems. Mark Bruning is in. Chuck Sweeting is in. Looks like Jay Salmon is also in, as is Mike Presley. Mike on his way back out. This pit road entry is extremely tricky and has bit just about everybody who's ever raced at this track, including yours truly. It really stinks when you're leading by half a lap and get it wrong. There is a little bit of a bump as you get right before that commitment cone where you have to be down to pit road speed, and if you hit the brakes at the wrong moment, your car will go around. Yeah, Richie, unfortunately, Mark did have a boo-boo. Tim St. Jean is on pit road. Derek Schilling, James Lacey, Warren Moore, the last three to come in. They have not pitted yet. Jared Swaim has set the fastest lap on fresh tires. Jeff Oakes currently in third, just ahead of Swaim. The top two still have not pitted. Derek Schilling and... Oh, James Lacey having problems getting in. Looks like Lacey missed pit road entry in a big way and may get a penalty due to cutting through the cone. Derek Schilling is also on pit road now. I have a sneaking suspicion several of these drivers are likely going to be two-stopping this race. Despite the fact their fuel window would allow them to make this race on one stop, I think we'll see quite a few of them making a second stop here. But Derek Schilling, who stayed out and was the last one to hit pit road, now back in 15th. He pitted just a moment ago on lap 34. He might try to stretch this one to the end. Meanwhile, after pit stop cycled through, Jared Swaim has reclaimed the lead over Jeff Oakes. DJ the Iceman Kenner in third, Ryan Warp in fourth. The Mark Nelson back in fifth. Chuck Sweeting is now up to sixth. Gerald Thanos Poole up to seventh, battling with eighth place Alan Phillips. Mark Bruning back there at 9, Gil Guanc in 10th. Kevin Brenner in 11th, battling with Rod Potgieter. Darrell Klotz lurking right behind in 13th. Mike Presley in 14th. Derek Schilling currently in 15th. Tim St. Jean in 16th. Jay Salmon in 17th. John Shermont's back at 18th. John Saunders in 19th. Warren Moore in 20th. James Lacey in 21st, and does not look like Thomas Byram took the grid. Alan Phillips has worked his way past, is now up to 7th, moving Thanos back to 8th. Chuck Sweeting, meanwhile, has caught up to Mark Nelson. Sweeting has been on a tear since the drop of the green flag. He started in 17th, is now in 6th, lurking just outside the top 5. Daryl Klotz, another one on a big run here tonight. He started 21st, now up into 11th place, and he is reeling in 10th place, Gil Guac at the moment. Tim St. Jean, who started in 20th, now up 5 spots into 15th. And Mark Bruning has taken 8th from Gerald Poole. Meanwhile, Chuck Sweeting just sitting right on the back bumper of the Mark Nelson as they reel in Ryan Warp at the moment. James Lacey did end up getting an unsafe pit entry penalty while he was on pit road and lost a bunch of time. That penalty really setting him back. Chuck Sweeting now looks under Mark Nelson. Mark fights back on the high side, but Sweeting finally clears. Chuck now up 12 spots into 5th. Jeff Oakes missed the first race of the playoffs, but after Bristol last week, he bumped up to 9th place in the points and is easily within striking distance of everybody except Jared Swaim and Mark Nelson. Jeff Oakes had one heck of a season earlier this year that got him into the playoffs. But Jared Swaim is doing exactly what he needed to do tonight. He needs to put some points and distance between him and Mark Nelson. Mark had a 46-point lead coming into tonight. Mark currently running in 6th. Swaim currently leading. This could definitely have a huge impact on the playoffs. Jeff Oakes in 2nd, currently 1 second behind Jared Swaim. DJ Kenner in 3rd, 1.4 seconds back. He is gaining on Oakes at the moment. Ryan Warp back in 4th, 5.3 seconds back and closing. But Chuck Sweeting in 5th is closing on everybody ahead. Mark Nelson sitting back in 6th is just trying to close the gap. Mark did tell me this was a race he was looking forward to. It has definitely not gone his way so far. Alan Phillips, I do believe this is actually Alan's debut race tonight. Up 4 spots into 7th place, having a great consistent run. Mark Bruning on a charge, up 5 spots into 8th. He has been up into the top 5. If we get a caution in the last 30 laps, the drivers at the front could be in trouble. Tim St. Jean has quietly moved his way up 7 spots into 13th. Daryl Klotz now up 9 spots into 12th. And Gil Guak currently running in 11th. Gerald Poole in 10th place, not that far ahead. And Tim St. Jean is in. This will be his second pit stop. He hits his pit stall. Let's see. Right side's up. Now the left sides will go up. 4 tires and fuel for St. Jean. Now the question is, how many drivers do we see do a 2-stop race? And Derek Schilling, who stretched his fuel and tires the furthest on the first stop, will he be able to go the distance and make it pay off? Jared Swaim's lead continuing to grow over Jeff Oaks, 1.8 seconds. As Tim St. Jean goes flying by on those fresh tires. Chuck Sweeting has gotten past Ryan Warp, is now up 13 spots into 4th place. This race, though, we might see Gerald Poole is on pit road as here we go for the second round of pit stops. We saw several drivers having issues on that first stop. Chuck Sweeting is in. Ryan Warp is in. We saw a bunch of drivers having problems on that first pit stop. Will they be able to make up ground on the second one? Looks like Jared Swaim stays out. Jeff Oaks is coming in. The Iceman stays out. Mark Nelson coming in. I'm suspecting he is much more careful this time. Ryan Warp, Warren Moore, John Saunders all on pit road. Gil Guak is in. Daryl Klotz is in. I think this is our first race this season that we have seen multiple pit stops. DJ Kenner has brought it in from second. Alan Phillips, problems on entry. We'll see if he gets a penalty out of that. Mark Bruning comes in. Jared Swaim continues to stay out, as does Derek Schilling. Now Jared Swaim has given up the lead. He is in. Take a look at Alan Phillips' pit road entry through 3 and 4. Looks like, oh, same thing that happened to Mark Nelson. Just a little too much brake and he drifts it past the cone. But did not get a penalty. He is still in the fight. Chuck Sweeting on fresh tires just set the fastest lap of the race. Don't forget to tune in later tonight to see the Unicorn do a little bit of trucking. Derek Schilling, Mike Presley, and Jay Sam. Nope, Schilling is in. Angie Louise cheering on Derek Schilling as Mike Presley comes in as well. Jay Salmon now coming in. That will cycle him back around. And Jeff Oakes reclaims the lead, but Jared Swaim on his bumper. Chuck Sweeting makes it into third, the Iceman in fourth, and Mark Nelson in fifth. Ryan Ward back in sixth. Alan Phillips, despite problems on pit road, holds on to seventh. Mark Bruning in eighth. Schilling comes off pit road in ninth. Gerald Poole in 10th. Tim St. Jean in 11th. Gil Guac in 12th. Daryl Klotz in 13th. Mike Presley back in 14th. Rod Potgieter currently in 15th. Kevin Bruner back in 16th. Jay Salmon in 17th. Warren Moore in 18th. John Saunders in 19th, James Lacey in 20th, John Shermott's rounding out the field. At the moment, 13 cars on the lead lap. We have not seen the yellow, and it does not look like we'll get a caution tonight as Swaim has reclaimed the lead. Jeff Oakes still right there in second. Chuck Sweeting in third. Chuck Sweeting has had one heck of a run tonight after starting in 17th all the way up to third place. He is 1 1/4 seconds behind Jeff Oakes, 1.9 seconds out of the lead with 17 laps to go. Can he run him down? Jared Swaim has 3 lap fresher tires. Oakes has 2 lap fresher tires. And it looks like a driver had a problem a moment ago. Jay Salmon. Looks like Salmon was trying to get back to pit road for some reason. Missed pit road entry, but got it gathered up. Unfortunately, lost a lot of ground. James Lacey has come back off pit road after another stop. Jay Salmon, after that mistake, drops all the way to 17th. Pit road has caused all the problems here tonight. Derek Schilling in 9th has run down Mark Bruning. Remember, Schilling, one of the last drivers to make a stop. He has got the freshest tires out there. And I'm willing to bet Schilling's going to pick up at least 1, maybe 3 more positions before it's all said and done. Meanwhile, Jared Swain pulling away again from Jeff Oakes. The lead now almost 2 seconds. Chuck Sweeting still holds on to 3rd, but he is not gaining any ground. The Iceman back and forth is close and is getting closer to Chuck Sweeting with 12 laps to go and a 1.6 second gap. D. Mark Nelson back in 5th, has a big gap back to 6th place, Ryan Warp. Hey, good to see you, Llama. Thank you. Jared Swain coming around will get the signal, 10 to go. Swain has just dominated here tonight. His lead 2.5 seconds. Nothing has slowed him down at all. And of course, Home Motorsports, known for being the cleanest league on iRacing. So no cautions here tonight. Which unfortunately means we did not get to hear the full effect, but let's have a little fun anyway and see if we can get some of that effect. I'm going to shut up for a lap. You guys crank up the volume. It's crank it up time. Well, it's definitely not as effective when they are spread out, but still fun hearing all the horsepower going flying by. Daryl Klotz has just broke into the top 10 after starting 21st. Heck of a run for Daryl tonight as well. Jared Swaim, a huge, huge night in the points. He has led the majority of the laps here. And with Mark Nelson back in 5th, he'll close that points gap down a little bit tonight. He's got about 6 more races to get it done. Swaim definitely on the attack, trying to get that championship trophy. Four laps to go for Jared Swaim. The only problem he might run into is lap traffic. Gerald Poole just a little ways ahead in 12th. The last car on the lead lap at the moment. And don't forget, shortly after the race, the Unicorn will be back live. She'll be trucking USA, causing all sorts of chaos and shenanigans. Chuck Sweeting has a run on Jeff Oakes late in the race. That is the battle for second, and is allowing the Iceman to close in. Sweeting ran him down from a big gap. But did he use up the car running him down? The last lap might get a little bit crazy. And here we go. White flag is in the air one more time around for Jared Swaim. His lead is getting bigger as the battle for second is on. Chuck Sweeting and Jeff Oakes battle it out, and the Iceman is getting closer. Sweeting has had one heck of a charge. And out of turn 4, Jared Swaim will win at Kansas. And at the line, Chuck Sweeting comes home in second. Jeff Oakes in third, and DJ the Iceman Kenner in fourth. Wow, that got close. Paulo, it definitely was a good race. Normally we would talk to our top 3, but at the moment I do not have any of our top 3 available. We'll give them just a moment. Now, due to the holiday, Sunday morning GT3 NSS will take to the track at 11 Eastern, but BRR and SMR are off Sunday night. We will find some way to entertain you folks, and our winner, Jared Swaim, has joined us. Jared, that was a dominant performance, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Doug. I just had a great car all night. I felt pretty good. I've won here before in the official races, but I guess I'm pretty good here.
It appears so, and obviously a lot of the other drivers having problems on pit road. How hard were you pushing it coming into pit road?
I had some pretty sketchy entrances, actually, and pretty hard exits. I'm not very good on pit road. I just still trying to learn it, man.
Well, it definitely worked out for you tonight. That was a dominant performance, and not only that, you're closing the gap on Mark.
Thank you very much, Doug.
Jared Swaim gets the win. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope y'all had as much fun as we did. Don't forget, give us about 5 or 10 minutes. Come back. The Unicorn Goes Trucking. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you here in a bit. Have a great night.